How does your spirituality add value to you as a person?
Well, I think my spirituality is just part of who I am. It's like asking the question, how does my body add value to who I am? I think the thing that adds value is me paying attention and care to my spirituality. So in the same way, if I kind of exercise and eat well and do all those kinds of things, I get the most out of my body. And I think that's also true with my mind. If I'm feeding my mind good things and reading and engaging in things where I'm learning, I get the best out of my mind and my brain. So with spirituality, if I'm paying attention to it and trying to feed it and nurture it, it's going to change how I feel about myself, my relationships with others, my place in the world. So I think paying attention and care to my spirituality, nurturing it, feeding it, are very important if I'm going to get the most out of that part of who I am.
Just gonna interrupt for a second to explain a thing. When we were collecting and writing these questions, this idea came up. How does spirituality add value? I just want to say adds value is a funny term. It sounds like finance, like a transaction or something, money stuff. All we're trying to get at is this. Is having some sense of your own spirituality a positive thing for people? Is it worth trying to explore and paint a picture of what our own unique spirituality might be? It was just that, really. What do you think, Jeremy?
I think for me it's about feeling that I'm part of something bigger, that it's not just me, that I'm part of all sorts of relationships, but part of this great continuum that stretches back and forwards in time, and that it's not all about me. Spirituality and being part of something that's much bigger than me reminds me that I've got a place in all of this that's really important.
It gives me a grounding. It gives me a support base that I can build the whole of my life on.
I hope that my spirituality makes me more humble. I hope that it makes me more compassionate as a consequence of that. My spirituality reminds me that it's not all about me and my needs and what I'm doing. I'm able to kind of step outside myself and look at another human being with compassion, with humanity, to look at the world around me and know that I'm part of it and not on this earth to just dominate it and be out for myself. My spirituality kind of tempers those desires to want to get all the stuff and have everything. My spirituality makes me just that bit humbler and more humane. And once I tap into that, I want to grow that and get more of it because I can see the benefits to me and to the world around me.
If spirituality is the way in which we forge a fundamental connection and engagement with life, then I think it's a bit difficult to talk about spirituality as adding value. In a sense, spirituality is what opens up the very possibility of value. It kind of clears the space for value to emerge. And in that sense, spirituality in a way is beyond value. The way in which we would say something is priceless, that you can't put a price tag on something. I would put that the best forms of spirituality are valueless and priceless in that way. Because I don't think you can really calculate the value of what allows you to say yes to existence.
Whoa, that was big. Let's hear that line again.
Because I don't think you can really calculate the value of what allows you to say yes to existence.
I'm all for saying yes to existence. Every day when I wake up and get amongst the world, I'm effectively saying that, even if I sleep in. And spirituality might be the thing that allows you to say yes to that. That's big. Now, Anne, what do you think?
that entering into some of these questions about what's good and what my purpose is, and those moments I've experienced awe and wonder, the seeking out of beauty and the seeking out of creativity, and the putting down of the busyness of the world and stopping and looking for what's really important. You know, my times with my family and my friends, and that work of just being sometimes. I think that has changed me as a person, and that's been formative. It's changed me, and I've grown, I've become more mature, and I've actually just been able to put down a whole lot of stuff that doesn't matter. A whole lot of worries that I can do nothing with when I actually just come back to what's really at my core.
I think it makes me a more rounded person. It makes me more aware of not only other people but the world around us in general, and it reinforces my belief that we should be doing more to look after it. But yeah, I think it makes you more aware, I believe, of what's around you and what matters that's around you.
Spirituality is part of my very essence and my very being. I don't know who I'd be without it. I hope it gives me some empathy and some depth, perhaps, and a compassion that I might not have if I didn't explore my spiritual side. But it's a really difficult question, because I can't imagine who I'd be without it.
How does it add value to me as a person? I don't know that I would be as healthy as I am, and that's debatable about how healthy I am without it. I have tried that before. Didn't go so great. There's no other way for me to be. I've always been a spiritual person, and I believe everybody is a spiritual person in some way.
So there's a bunch of people who feel spirituality is an integral, very central part of who they are. That's fine if you have a sense of what that is, but some of us are still in the process of working that out. So don't stress if these people all sound so sure about that and you're still working it out. That's fine. Just be assured that there are relatively normal people on the planet who feel this way. Because Liz's last comment is the kicker. She says,
I've always been a spiritual person, and I believe everybody is a spiritual person in some way.
She believes everybody is a spiritual person in some way. What do you think? I like how she adds, in some way. Everyone's spiritual in some way. I think that allows there to be difference, that there's not some cookie cutter version of spirituality that you've got to fit in with. I think that's true. Over the course of Inner Vivid, we're going to throw some things your way to think about, to feel, so you can work out what your version of spirituality might be. One thing's for sure, it'll be unique, because you are too. Yeah, so I reckon it could be worth keeping track of your travels through these vids, if you like writing things down. If you do that, you might just get to the end of the Inner Vivid thing and realise you've painted a picture of your very own spirituality. How awesome would that be? I'd give it a 6. That's out of 6, obviously. Okay, out of here. Are you a spiritual person? I reckon you just might be.